Bullied on the field, they kicked the wrong striker down. Noah Bennett hunched his shoulders as he walked through the crowded hallways of Westwood High. At 15, he was the newest student at the school, having moved to town just 3 weeks ago when his father's job transferred him across the country. With his slight build, standing only 5'7", and weighing 140 pounds soaking wet, Noah was physically unimposing. His wire-rimmed glasses and tendency to keep his gaze fixed on the floor made him an easy target in the social hierarchy of high school. What no one at Westwood knew was that back in his hometown, Noah had been the star striker on his soccer team. Years of training under his uncle, a former semi-professional player, had given Noah exceptional footwork, impressive speed, and an almost supernatural ability to read the field. Soccer wasn't just a sport for Noah. It was his passion, his identity, his escape. But at Westwood, he'd kept this part of himself hidden. Just keep your head down, don't make waves, get through the year. That's all you need to do. Noah repeated this mantra to himself as he navigated the hallway toward his locker. The transition to a new school had been difficult enough without adding the complication of trying out for the soccer team mid-season. His parents had encouraged him to join, but Noah had resisted. New kid syndrome was bad enough without putting himself in the spotlight. Well, if it isn't the ghost boy. The familiar voice made Noah's stomach clench. Derek Winters, a junior and the captain of Westwood's soccer team, flanked by his ever-present sidekicks, Marcus Lee and Brendan Taylor. Derek stood a head taller than Noah, with broad shoulders and the confident swagger of someone who knew he ruled the school. His dark hair was perfectly styled, his Letterman jacket a symbol of his athletic status. "Seriously, do you ever talk?" Derek continued, stepping directly into Noah's path. "Or are you just too good for the rest of us?" Noah's eyes darted around, searching for an escape route. "I'm just trying to get to class," he muttered, his voice barely audible. Marcus, a stocky boy with cropped blonde hair and perpetually narrowed eyes, snickered. "Did you hear that? I think the mouse squeaked." Brendan, the tallest of the three with a lean build and curly brown hair, blocked Noah's side path. Maybe he needs help finding his voice. With practiced coordination, Derek subtly extended his foot just as Noah tried to step around him. Noah stumbled, his backpack sliding off his shoulder and spilling its contents across the hallway floor. Laughter erupted from the 3 boys and rippled through the crowd of onlookers. "Oops," Derek said, his voice dripping with mock concern. "Someone should really watch where they're going." Noah silently gathered his scattered belongings, his face burning with humiliation. A few students glanced at him sympathetically, but no one intervened. Miss Patel, the English teacher, walked by and frowned slightly, but continued on her way to the teacher's lounge. "Don't react. That's what they want. Just get through the day." "Need help with that?" Derek asked, reaching down to grab Noah's notebook before he could get to it. He flipped through it, eyebrows raising. "Whoa, look at this. Ghost Boy's got some soccer plays in here. You a fan, new kid? Or do you just wish you could play?" Noah's heart raced. The notebook contained his personal training notes and play diagrams, a habit he'd maintained even after stopping competitive play. "Give it back," Noah said, his voice slightly stronger. Derek held the notebook higher. "Oh, now he speaks. What's the matter? Afraid we'll see your little fantasy about being on the team?" "Please," Noah said, hating the pleading tone in his voice. "I need to get to class." "Sure thing," Derek said, tossing the notebook to the ground. As Noah bent to pick it up, Derek leaned down and whispered, "Word of advice. Stick to whatever it is losers do. Soccer's for guys who can actually stand up for themselves." The bell rang, and the 3 bullies sauntered off, leaving Noah to gather the last of his things. As he hurried to class, he replayed the scene in his mind, imagining all the things he could have said or done, but he knew why he held back. After what happened at his last school, the fight that had gotten so out of hand, the other boys broken, Nose, the suspension, his parents' disappointment, Noah had promised himself and his family no more trouble. Soccer players control their tempers. They channel their aggression into the game. They don't lose control. For the next 2 weeks, Noah developed a 6th sense for avoiding Derek and his friends. He learned which routes to take between classes, which bathroom was safest to use, and which corner of the cafeteria offered the most protection. But Westwood High wasn't large enough to disappear completely. The cafeteria became the most dreaded part of Noah's day. On Tuesday, someone accidentally spilled milk down the back of his shirt. On Thursday, his lunch tray was knocked to the floor. By Friday, he'd taken to eating his lunch in a bathroom stall, a new low he never thought he'd reach. That afternoon, Mr. Ramirez, the physical education teacher, made an announcement that sent a chill down Noah's spine. The annual interclass soccer championship starts next week, he announced to the class. Freshmen versus sophomores on Monday, juniors versus seniors on Tuesday, and the final match on Friday. All students are required to participate unless they have a doctor's note. Noah's heart sank. There was no way he could get out of this without drawing attention to himself. And worse, the sophomore team would undoubtedly be led by Derek, who was known as one of the school's best players despite only being a junior. Just play badly, don't stand out, get through it. But as the weekend passed and Monday arrived, Noah found himself filled with a familiar excitement despite his anxiety. The feel of cleats on grass, the smell of the field, the rhythm of the game, these things were in his blood. As he changed into his gym clothes and stepped onto the field for the preliminary round, he felt an internal struggle between his love for the game and his determination to remain invisible. The freshman team was demolished by the sophomores, 5-0. Noah had successfully blended into the background, deliberately missing passes and hanging back from the action. No one paid him any attention, which was exactly what he wanted. But watching Derek swagger around the field after their victory, high-fiving teammates and mocking the freshmen, stirred something inside Noah that he'd been suppressing. You could wipe that smirk off his face in 2 minutes on the field. He pushed the thought away. It wasn't worth the trouble. Wednesday's practice session was worse. Having advanced to the final, the sophomore team was practicing on half the field, while the juniors, who had beaten the seniors in a surprise upset, occupied the other half. Noah was assigned to defense, which suited his plan to remain unnoticed. "Bennett," Mr. Ramirez called. "You're not even trying. Move up to midfield and show some effort." Noah reluctantly jogged to the midfield position, feeling Derek's eyes on him from across the field. The ball came his way, and out of instinct, Noah trapped it perfectly, his body remembering years of training. "Hey, Ghost Boy's got some moves," Derek called out, drawing everyone's attention. "Let's see what else he can do." 3 of Derek's friends from the junior team immediately converged on Noah. Panicking, Noah passed the ball away quickly, deliberately making a weak, misdirected kick. The juniors laughed and Derek smirked knowingly. "That's what I thought," Derek said loudly. "All show, no go." Thursday brought more of the same, with Derek finding opportunities to bump into Noah in the hallway, knocking his books from his hands and whispering threats about the upcoming final match. "Hope you're ready to get crushed tomorrow, Ghost Boy. I'm going to make sure you regret ever stepping on my field, as if he owns it. As if he even knows what real soccer looks like." The thought flashed through Noah's mind before he could suppress it. He'd been the top scorer in his division back home. He'd been scouted by regional teams, and here he was, pretending to be terrible, to avoid the attention of a bully who probably couldn't tell a proper through pass from a throw-in. Friday arrived with a palpable tension in the air. The interclass championship was a big deal at Westwood, with students and even some parents coming to watch the final match. Noah changed into his gym clothes slowly, his mind racing. He'd almost decided to fake an injury when he overheard Derek and his friends in the locker row behind him. "I'm telling you," Derek was saying, "that new kid is hiding something. I saw him trap that ball on Wednesday. There's no way that was beginner's luck." "So what?" Marcus replied. "He's still a wimp. Did you see how he passed it away as soon as we came at him?" "Yeah, but I don't like it," Derek continued. "I want you guys to focus on him today. Shut him down completely. Make an example of him." "You want us to hurt him?" Brendan asked, sounding uncertain. "I'm saying make him regret setting foot on the field," Derek answered. "Soccer's a physical game. Accidents happen." Noah felt his blood run cold. They were planning to target him specifically, his options narrowed to either faking an illness right now or facing whatever they had planned. "I'm tired of running. I'm tired of hiding who I am." The thought surfaced unbidden, surprising Noah with its clarity and force. He'd spent weeks suppressing his true self, and for what? He was miserable, lonely, and still being targeted. Maybe it was time to stop hiding. The field was crowded when both teams emerged from the locker rooms. The sophomore team wore red pinnies, while the juniors were in blue. Noah took his assigned position at right midfield, his heart pounding. Mr. Ramirez blew the whistle, and the match began. For the first 10 minutes, Noah stuck to his plan, playing it safe and avoiding attention. But Derek wasn't having it. Every time Noah touched the ball, Derek or one of his friends would come charging in, cleats up, barely disguising their intent to intimidate or injure. After a particularly rough tackle from Marcus that left Noah sprawled on the grass, something inside him snapped. As he pushed himself up from the ground, wiping dirt from his face, he heard his uncle's voice in his head. "Soccer isn't just about skill. It's about heart. It's about refusing to be beaten." When play resumed, Noah stopped holding back. The next time the ball came his way, he controlled it with a deft touch, pivoted around a defender, and delivered a perfect pass to his teammate. The sudden display of skill drew surprised looks from both teams. "Lucky move," Derek shouted, but his expression had changed from mockery to something closer to concern. As the half continued, Noah found himself playing with increasing confidence and skill. His teammates began to recognize his ability and started passing to him more frequently. By halftime, the score was tied 1-1, and the sophomore team was gathered around Noah, asking where he'd learned to play like that. "I used to play a lot at my old school," Noah said simply, avoiding Derek's glare from across the field. The second half began with renewed intensity. The junior team, clearly rattled by Noah's unexpected skill, played more aggressively. Derek shadowed Noah constantly, trash-talking and attempting to provoke him. "You think you're something special?" Derek hissed during a corner kick setup. "You're still the same loser who eats lunch in the bathroom." Noah ignored him, focusing instead on the game. With 15 minutes left and the score still tied, Noah intercepted a pass, dribbled past two defenders, and was breaking toward the goal when he felt a hard shove from behind. He stumbled, but maintained control of the ball. "Foul," someone shouted, but Mr. Ramirez waved play on. Seething with frustration, Derek caught up to Noah near the penalty box. Just as Noah was about to shoot, Derek slid in from the side, cleats making direct contact with Noah's ankle rather than the ball. Noah went down hard, pain shooting up his leg. The whistle blew. "Penalty," Mr. Ramirez shouted, pointing to the spot and showing Derek a yellow card. The crowd grew silent as Noah limped to his feet. His ankle throbbed, but he was determined to take the penalty kick himself. He placed the ball on the spot, took several steps back and tried to calm his racing heart. "This is your moment. This is why you play." Noah approached the ball with calculated steps, watching the goalkeeper's movements. At the last possible moment, he struck the ball with precision, sending it curling into the top right corner of the net. The sophomore section erupted in cheers. Derek's face contorted with rage. As play resumed, his targeting of Noah became more obvious and vicious. With just 5 minutes left in the match and the sophomores still leading 2-1, Derek and Noah both challenged for a high ball. What happened next occurred in a blur of motion. Both players leapt, but instead of going for the header, Derek drove his elbow into Noah's face. Noah crashed to the ground, blood streaming from his nose. The referee's whistle shrieked, and Mr. Ramirez rushed over, red card in hand. "That's it, Winters, you're out of the game." But Derek wasn't finished. As Noah struggled to his feet, disoriented and in pain, Derek charged at him again. "You think you can come to my school and show me up?" he shouted, shoving Noah back to the ground. Chaos erupted as players from both teams rushed in. Teachers intervened, pulling Derek away as he continued to shout threats. Noah was helped to the sidelines, his nose still bleeding, his vision blurred. The match ended prematurely, with the sophomores declared winners due to Derek's disqualification. In the locker room afterward, Noah sat alone holding an ice pack to his face, his earlier triumph now overshadowed by pain and the knowledge that he'd made an enemy who wouldn't let this go. You should have just stayed invisible. The weekend passed in a haze of conflicting emotions. Noah's parents were concerned about his injuries, but proud that he'd finally shown his soccer skills. His classmates, who had barely noticed him before, now greeted him in the hallways. But Noah knew Monday would bring a reckoning with Derek. He wasn't wrong. Monday morning, Derek was waiting by Noah's locker, alone for once. His usual swagger was gone, replaced by a simmering rage. "You humiliated me," Derek said quietly, his voice tight with anger. "Nobody does that to me. Nobody." "I just played the game," Noah replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "You're the one who got yourself ejected." Derek stepped closer, lowering his voice. "After school, behind the gym. Just you and me. We'll settle this." Noah felt a familiar sensation in his stomach, the same fear he'd been living with for weeks. But something was different now. He'd faced Derek on the field and survived. He'd shown his true self and for a brief moment felt whole again. "No," Noah said firmly. "I'm not fighting you." Derek's eyes widened with surprise, then narrowed. "What did you say?" "I said no," Noah repeated, louder this time. "I'm not hiding anymore, but I'm not fighting you either. That's not who I am." "You don't have a choice," Derek snarled. "Either show up or I'll find you when you least expect it." Noah shouldered his backpack and looked Derek straight in the eye. "Do what you need to do, but know this, I won't be your victim anymore." Throughout the day, word spread about the confrontation scheduled for after school. Noah received mixed messages from his newfound admirers, some urging him to stand his ground, others advising him to stay away. By last period, it seemed like the entire school knew about the impending fight. When the final bell rang, Noah made his decision. He walked deliberately toward the gym, his heart pounding but his resolve firm. A crowd had already gathered in the secluded area behind the building, with Derek at its center, pacing impatiently. "Well, well," Derek said as Noah approached. "Look, who decided to show some courage?" The crowd formed a circle around them, excitement and tension thick in the air. Noah dropped his backpack and faced Derek squarely. "Before we do this," Noah said, his voice carrying across the suddenly quiet crowd, "I want you to understand something. I never wanted trouble. I never wanted attention. I just wanted to be left alone." "Save your speech," Derek snapped, stepping forward with fists raised. Noah didn't raise his hands. "No, you need to hear this. What happened on the field wasn't about you. I love soccer. It's part of who I am. I didn't play to embarrass you. I played because for the first time in weeks, I remembered who I really am." Derek's expression flickered with uncertainty before hardening again. "Shut up and fight!" He lunged forward, swinging wildly. Noah stepped aside, years of soccer training giving him the footwork to evade the punch. Derek stumbled off balance, then turned with a roar of frustration and charged again. This time Noah used Derek's momentum against him, pivoting just as Derek reached him and sending the larger boy sprawling to the ground. The crowd gasped, then jeered as Derek struggled to his feet, dirt covering his clothes. "Fight back!" Derek shouted, his face red with humiliation. "Stop dancing around!" "I told you," Noah replied calmly. "I'm not fighting you, but I'm not running away either." Derek charged again, this time connecting with a glancing blow to Noah's shoulder. Noah winced but maintained his footing. When Derek wound up for another punch, Noah trapped his arm, twisted, and used Derek's momentum to bring him to the ground again. "Stay down," Noah said quietly. "It's over." But Derek wasn't ready to concede. With a roar of rage, he scrambled up and launched himself at Noah, tackling him to the ground. They rolled in the dirt, Derek trying to pin Noah down while Noah fought to protect himself without striking back. Suddenly, Derek landed a solid punch to Noah's already injured nose. Pain exploded through Noah's face, and in that moment of blinding agony, his control slipped. Acting on pure instinct, Noah bucked and rolled, reversing their positions. Before he knew what was happening, he had Derek pinned, his fist drawn back. The crowd went silent. Derek's eyes widened, his defiance replaced by a flash of fear. Noah froze, his fist trembling in the air. Blood dripped from his nose onto Derek's shirt. The rage that had surged through him began to recede, replaced by clarity. "This isn't who I am. This isn't how I win." Slowly, deliberately, Noah lowered his fist. He stood up and stepped back, offering a hand to Derek. "Enough," he said. "This ends now." Derek stared at the offered hand in disbelief. After a long moment, he ignored it and pushed himself up. "You had me," he said, his voice strange. "Why didn't you do it?" "Because beating you up won't change anything," Noah replied. "It won't make me feel better. It won't make you a better person. It's just more violence." The crowd began to disperse, some looking disappointed that the fight had ended without a clear winner, others thoughtful about what they'd witnessed. Noah turned to walk away, exhausted and sore, but somehow lighter than he'd felt in months. "Bennett," Derek called after. "Him?" Noah paused but didn't turn around. "This isn't over." "Yes, it is," Noah replied, continuing to walk away. Whether you know it yet or not, the next day at school Noah was prepared for more trouble. Instead, he found something unexpected: respect. Students who had never spoken to him before nodded in acknowledgement as he passed. His teammates from the soccer match clapped him on the back and invited him to sit with them at lunch. Even some of Derek's former hangers-on seemed to view him differently. Derek himself was conspicuously absent from the usual bullying spots. When Noah finally encountered him in the cafeteria, Derek was alone, his usual entourage nowhere to be seen. Their eyes met briefly, and Derek looked away first, not in submission but in something that looked almost like contemplation. By the end of the week, Mr. Ramirez approached Noah after class. "Bennett, the soccer coach, asked me about you. Says he heard about your performance in the interclass championship. He wants to know if you'd be interested in trying out for the team next season." Noah felt a surge of excitement, followed by hesitation. "I don't know if that's a good idea. Derek Winters is on the team, and Winters has been suspended from athletic activities for the remainder of the semester," Mr. Ramirez said. "His behavior during the match was unacceptable. Besides," he added with a knowing look, "I hear you two might have come to an understanding." Noah couldn't help but smile. "Maybe we have." 3 weeks later, Noah sat on the bleachers after school, watching the varsity soccer team practice. He'd agreed to try out next season, and the coach had invited him to observe their training sessions. To his surprise, Derek approached and sat down beside him, leaving a careful distance between them. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Derek cleared his throat. "You know, they're going to need a new captain next year." Noah glanced at him, unsure where this was going. "Yeah? You'd probably be good at it," Derek said, his voice neutral. "Better than I was, anyway." Noah studied Derek's profile, searching for the hostility that had defined their relationship. Instead, he saw something he recognized from his own journey, a person trying to find their way back from a mistake. "Maybe," Noah said, "but everyone deserves a second chance to show who they really are." Derek nodded slowly, and for the first time, a hint of a genuine smile crossed his face. "Maybe they do." As the sun began to set over the soccer field, Noah realized that he had finally found his place at Westwood High. Not as the invisible new kid, not as the sudden soccer star, but as himself, a person who had learned that true strength wasn't about dominating others, but about standing firm in who you are, even when it's difficult, especially when it's difficult. The two boys sat in companionable silence, watching the practice unfold below them, each contemplating the unexpected path that had brought them to this moment of truce. For Noah, one thought remained clearer than all the others. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't defeating your enemy, but refusing to let them turn you into something you're not.